Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. I am so excited for this episode because I don't have Willow next to me. As much as I love Will, I have the beautiful and one and only Morgan. Morgan, I'm obsessed with you. I've been obsessed with you. I feel so grateful for you because we've honestly been in each other's lives for quite some time
Yeah.
now. Like we've known each other for a while and we've met each other in person, and you're just such an amazing soul and human and student. And I just love you. So I'm really excited to have you back on the podcast. For people that are brand new to this, we had Morgan on the podcast in 2022. So we're dedicating this episode to really like, where is your business now? So Morgan, hello and welcome.
Hi. It is always a pleasure to see you and talk to you and yeah, love it.
I love it. Okay, so why don't you give the people a little rundown of like who you are?
So I'm the owner of Wild Powerful Design Studio. That is like my baby, love it so much. But I got started probably like so many other students, just like interacting and seeing your like TikToks, and I'm like, honestly, at the time, I was in a point in my life where I just felt like this is not it. It was like the beginning
Mm,
of COVID, which I'm sure a lot of people have like extreme battle scars from that time.
literally, like
But
PTSD.
seriously, like yeah, like one day I'm gonna be like, yeah, I survived COVID. I literally had COVID, but yeah, yeah, during that time I really just felt like I was ready to make a change in my life, and I had already been like a creative person, but never in like a creative role. So it was like, I don't know, I just felt like it was just the right time, and I just felt something in me. I kept seeing your videos and I'm like, okay, this is the sign that I keep asking for. I need to actually just take some action on it. And yeah, I did one of your bundles. It was like wealthy web designer, CEO of Showit, and then passive passion project. And I put
Hmm.
them back to back, like every night I was sitting there like ready to go, watching each video. I'm following you like I'm in class or something. And yeah, it's been a really interesting, fun journey that I could have never imagined.
I love that. So that would have been close to 3 years ago, or
Yeah.
when would that have been?
So that
That's
was,
wild.
I want to say the end of 2021
Okay.
sounds about right. And then it took me, I don't know, like a month or so to get through like all the classes and feel confident enough. And then I just got started. And like, I think that's probably the hardest part is once
Mm,
you get all the information, it's like, okay, now what, you know? But
hmm.
where you have to really just like drive it home at that point.
Hmm. Yeah, you really put it into perspective of like, okay, now I actually have to
Right.
do it. Like I
Right.
just learned it, but now I have to do it.
Yes. And that's the scary part, but then it's like you have everything you need, you know?
Mm, yeah, it's so true. Okay, so I'm really curious when because you found me on TikTok and
Mhm.
you were in a completely different field in your
Yeah.
career. Had you ever thought about becoming a web designer? Because I feel like so many people that follow me, they're like, I didn't even know you could be a web designer. Like I had no
Yeah.
idea. It's not something that like we've been told, maybe even differently than like becoming an influencer. Like everyone's
Right.
maybe thought about becoming an
Right.
influencer, like you know what it is, you know what it means. But I feel like web design for so long was never a path that people considered. So had you thought about it before, or was it completely like a new door open?
Completely, totally never crossed my mind. I had never wondered how websites were created, like literally never. And but like I said, I had a creative background and like I went to school for fashion and like so I had that drive and like I had the overall knowledge of branding and like all of that stuff, but when it came to web design, no. And like
Mm,
yeah, it was a path, like I said, I could have never imagined me like going down that road, but to
mm.
feel like so fulfilled by it is like, I don't know, awesome, honestly.
I love that. Well, so you have kiddos
I
too.
do, yeah.
I'm curious. because that's obviously something that I can't relate to. I will be a mom one day, but right now I don't. And so I really want to speak to the mamas for a second, because I know that a lot of people have kids that listen to the podcast and follow me. And I'm curious, what was there ever a motivation for you to go down this path for your kids, or like explain where your mind was with that?
I am probably the most like I'm shocked every day at some point that I am somebody's mother and like I'm two people's mom. Like I am like, okay, cool, we're doing this. Like it's not uncommon for me to say to my kids, like, look, I'm new here, just like you.
I
But
love the realness. That is the best thing I've ever heard anyone say. I love it.
like, and I'm sure someone who's listening, like their mom can relate, they can relate. But yeah, what I really want out of like motherhood and like hope that my kids see is just you can do it. It's like it's one thing
Mm,
to say that, to like say to your kids, you can do whatever you want or
mm,
whatever you put your mind to, but then to not show them that, it's like
mm,
counterproductive, you know? And that's super important to me. And I work with so many women that are like just following their dreams and like putting themselves first in a way that isn't always accepted, especially when
mm,
you're a mom. And yeah, when I work with them, I just feel like, I don't know, even more affirmed that I'm doing what I should be
mm,
doing. And I have a son and a daughter. So I want them both to see, like, from different perspectives. My daughter to see that you can be a strong, like, independent woman and, really follow your dreams. But then I also want my son to
mm,
see um, that that's important. And like, it's not just
mhm.
my job to be your mom, it's my job to like fulfill my passions just like you would and just like I encourage them to do. So, yeah, motherhood is like a really interesting thing to like go through and navigate through, but that's really what I'm hoping that they see later on is like, you know what, my mom did that shit and I'm proud of her. So,
I
that's
love
important.
that. I love that so much. And you brought up like, there's one thing to say it or to talk about it and be like, you can do it. But really, it's about walking the talk and having the courage to really make a change. Like, if you're unhappy, make a change. If you want more, make a change. If you want a different job, make a change. And I think that we live in a society where that's not necessarily the normal, where we're like really kind of pushed to be stagnant and like accept things and be, fine with our shitty job and fine with our mediocre life and, complain about it. That's like a huge societal norm. But I think if you want your kids to be courageous, to like chase something and like work hard and be ambitious, like you have to be the leader in
Show
that,
it.
because
Yeah.
you're gonna like, how the fuck are they gonna learn? How are they
Exactly.
gonna know any better?
Yeah. Yeah, and like that is just so it's scary. Like to
Mm,
have someone literally depend on you, like for their own livelihood. And then for me to be like, okay, cool, I'm about to just like go do some new shit. Like that is scary. And so I don't
mhm,
want anyone to think that I'm like downplaying that because it is scary. But
mm,
the return is always so much greater than like whatever fear I had. Like
mm,
me being like, all right, well, what if I can't do it? Like, okay, I'm about to just go back to doing the same shit I was doing before, you know what I mean? But
mhm,
at least I tried, and at least your kids can see that is when even if you fail, you keep going, you shift, you do whatever you need to do, but you don't just give
mhm.
up and be like, oh, once upon a time I wanted to do XYZ and it just didn't work out. And then
Yeah,
what? You know what I mean? Like, so that's
it's so
important.
true. It's so true, and it's so applicable to all things in life.
Mhm.
Like, everything is scary. Like, something new is scary. Like, if you've never done it, it's gonna be scary. That's the inevitable, but how are you going to grow or change or get what you want if you don't get past those fears? It's like you almost have to just become really, really comfortable with just being scared.
Yeah.
Like that is kind of
Yes.
entrepreneurship, honestly.
For real.
And maybe similar to motherhood, I would assume. Like, I'm sure
Yes.
it's constantly scary. You're constantly like second guessing or questioning or being like, what am I doing? This shit's scary. But I bet the reward is so worth it. And those things, I think, is such a similar tie. Like, that is totally how entrepreneurship is too.
Oh, absolutely. Like you just saying that, I'm like, there have been so many times, so many Google searches where I'm like, is this normal for your kid to like do XYZ? That's the same thing with like entrepreneurship where
Mm,
I'm Googling or I'm, trying to figure things out or, like watching other creators or like what someone else is doing just to navigate through. But that's literally life. No one knows the answers to everything.
mm,
You just have to
yeah.
roll with it.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I'm really curious, and I feel free to share as little or as much as you're willing to, but I'm curious about the financials with having kids and starting a business, because I know that it's really scary for people to, let's say, give up their job security or start something new where they're like investing their time, and there might be a couple of months where they're not at their goal, and they're
Yeah.
working towards it. And that the fear of like lack of financials when they're first starting out
Mm.
with kids specifically, because
Yeah.
obviously that's such a bigger deal, right, than like someone
Sure.
single living alone. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of pressure there. I'm curious how you navigated that when you were first starting out.
I think what really helped me was, yeah, I had a job. So it's like I had that security where I'm not feeling that like extreme fear that I'm sure I would have had if I would have just been,
Mm,
by myself or whatever. But then I was clear about, okay, here's the path that I want to take. Here's the amount of money that I feel like I need to save up just in case, like, to give myself that security. Because I would be tweaked out. Like, I am
mm-hmm,
not the type to be like, let's wing it when it comes to financial stuff. That's like not me. So, yeah, just to save up and be like, all right, this day I'm done with this. Or, here's what I need to show myself. Like just that reiteration. I think that is actually what really helped me was, all right, I'm landing these clients and this is consistent for me. Now it's like,
mm-hmm,
all right, cool. I've got this income. I'm making double the amount. I'm making triple the amount like that I would be making. So why
mm-hmm.
would you continue to work two jobs. My mom always says two jobs is for two people. And so it's like, okay.
That's a good
Yeah.
quote,
So,
honestly. Okay, so you had your job
mm,
through the first couple of months of starting. And
yeah.
then once you had a couple of clients, and then you were able to almost translate the amount that you were making to the
Mm,
amount that you were making at your other
yeah.
job. And you're like, okay, so now my time is more valuable. I need to quit so that I can apply that time at this job into this web design
Mhm.
career. And then you quit. You just
Yeah.
went and quit.
So it's like, I think what it's, yeah, to notice that my time, if I'm working 40, 80 hours somewhere, and the same amount of time that I would be working for this 1 week,
Mm-hmm.
getting paid more to work less is like silly, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say silly to like downplay, but yeah, it's like your time is valuable and if you're in control of your time, I can decide and like to keep just to keep showing
Mm-hmm.
myself that okay, if I
Yeah.
do this amount of work and this is the amount that I'm going to get for it, like is that security because really not secure
Mm-hmm.
gonna be worth it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and then it's like it's time to go and
S-
ramp it
Yeah.
up. You know?
Big facts. I love though that we're talking about time value though, because
Mm.
it's so different than when you're working a job. Like when you're working corporate or you're working a career job, you didn't control or dictate that value of your
Yeah.
time at all. You basically are on someone else's page, someone else is telling you how much you're valuable,
Right.
basically.
Right.
And then becoming a web designer, like you are learning a skill to then dictate your own value, which I think is one of the most empowering things that personally I haven't even really like thought of it in that
Mhm.
way, but you are fully like creating this skill that then you just have absolute control and you get to say, no, I'm worth this much.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most, especially I feel like as women, like to be able to have that control and be like, no one else gets to dictate my value. This is my control. And then to have people, your clients, actually justify that and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, you are worth that. Like
And
it
to
is
be
the most
happy to
incredible
pay it.
feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's so eye-opening in like a million ways where it's like, especially if you're first getting started and you're like, "Oh, should I really charge? Is that too much?"
Hmm.
And to have that like kind of fear wrapped around that, and then for me like years later like charging more, or especially for like hourly type projects, and just to see that like grow, and then to not have any hesitation about raising my prices, or because the value that you're giving to somebody, and to have someone like a client just reaffirm that, to be like, oh yeah, sure, of course, obviously I'm going to pay that, and that's it. And that feels
Hmm.
so good. And then it allows you in other aspects of your life not to question so much like
Hmm.
what your value really is. And I mean, not to say that it's tied all up into work, but to really decide, you're the decider of like,
Hmm.
your value and what's important. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that so much. So I'm curious, it's been, well, when did you launch your business actually? Do you know like the month?
it's been 2 years for sure. I want to say maybe in like May, no,
2022.
February, maybe February 2022. I feel like it's
Yeah.
closer to my birthday. Yeah, something like that. That's a
Okay.
good question.
That is the craziest thing. So that means that our last podcast episode, August 2022,
Mhm.
was like 6 months after
That sounds
launching.
about right. Yeah.
That is insane. So, okay, to put it into perspective, if you're listening to this and you haven't been around or you haven't listened to the episode with Morgan or known Morgan at all, when we did the episode then, you were at like $3,000 days. You had just started charging
Yeah, yeah.
$3,000 for a day.
Mhm.
And you, at that point, I think were around $8,000 a month, I want to
Month.
say.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So that was 6 months after launching. So big picture, like when you look back,
Yeah.
because I feel like when you're just starting out, those
Hmm.
first 6 months feel like a fucking lifetime. Like they
Yeah.
feel like years. But
Yeah.
then now when you're like, 2 years past and you look back, you're like, wait, I grew really fast. Like I hit
Yeah.
those financial goals. What do you mean in 6 months? Like that's where I was at.
Right.
It's so wild. I'm so proud of you, especially because it is hard. It's like once you get past that hump and it's like maybe the first 6 months, if you get lucky or hit the jackpot of clients, you could love it. But then it's really about building the sustainability in how you will
Mhm.
continue and still be in business and still loving it and thriving 2 years later, 3 years
Right.
later. And I think you show like the longevity and potential of building something. It's building a career. Like it
Yeah.
really is building the skills that can be applicable. Obviously, your offers can change. You can change up how you're working with people, but the skills can be applied in so many ways that really can be sustainable for
Oh, for sure.
forever.
Yeah.
I'm curious in the last 2.5 years, have
Mhm.
there been times where you've been like, holy fuck, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I want to quit, or like, tell,
You know
get
what?
real for a second.
Honestly, no. I would really like to
Okay.
say, like, and here's why. I think I did in the beginning a really good job of being so clear on
Mm,
who I want to work with and why I want to work with them. Like, so it's really important for me to work with female owned businesses. I don't necessarily have a niche, but my clients are, I feel like they're the niche. Like,
hmm.
my business is the niche. And like, that was so important to me. So as I continue to meet these clients, to have clients, want to work together, and thankfully I haven't had to like, you know, really, I don't know, work super duper hard and like grabbing these clients or doing like cold call, nothing like that.
Hmm.
But I think that's because I was so clear about who I want to work with and my intention behind it.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, there hasn't been a time where I'm like, I don't know. I did have a moment with someone who
Okay.
it became really difficult and really disheartening
Mm.
when you have your work stolen, which could happen.
From a client,
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
paying client stole your stuff.
a paying client. And yes,
Okay, wait. Story time.
a little story
Story.
time, and I'm gonna be very like vague and soft about this,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So had a client, we're working together, everything is good, perfect, um, and this is through. So like in web design, you can do like so much stuff, which I really love. You can work for yourself, you can work like for an agency, whatever. So yeah, had a client where everything was going well, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And I think it's really important for designers to be so clear about their like
Mm,
contract and about all the technical stuff that you probably don't really want to deal with. Like take the time to read
honestly.
it over, But yeah, and they ended up trying to, and really until last week had my design and was like running with it, but then had requested like a refund, even though they were actively using it. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
God.
that moment honestly made me feel um taken advantage. You feel all these like nasty
Yeah.
feelings, and as a creative, as someone who is like putting your all into something and then it's like that was not your
It's the
intention,
worst.
Yeah, it is the worst. But yeah, that was like a lesson, a little burn where I was like, all right. But yeah, I haven't really had any moments like that, thank God. But
Yeah. I love though that you look at it as a lesson because I feel like I'm similar in that where I've had clients. I just did actually like a series where I talked about a girl who did the same thing. She said she never got the website. She did a dispute, but like the bitch's site was live with my name
it's like
on
I
there.
can see it.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So, but while yes, it was so stressful and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. What do I do? I hate this. It
Mhm.
never made me want to throw in the towel. It made me want to just become more secure where I'm like, okay, my contract, what do I need to change? How can I make sure that I don't work with this type of client in the future? What kind of screening? What can I change to my application? Like really looking at it in a way where you can just learn and grow is really the only way to do it or you're gonna because those things will happen like I'm sorry but like they will.
Yeah.
There's crazy people out there, and it can't prevent you because I feel like a lot of people reach out and they'll be like, what do you do about shitty clients? It's like making me not want to do it. Or like, what do you do about people stealing your designs? Like, it makes me not want to create designs. I'm like, that's giving other people way too much power.
Yeah.
Like, take back your power because you can't control people. And right now, you're letting them control you. And
Yeah.
so, do the damn thing. Like, be unafraid, be unapologetic, do whatever you want to do, and just really try and take them as learning lessons and
Yeah.
make yourself as bulletproof as possible. And also, like, whatever. Who
It
cares?
stings. Yeah, look, it stings, okay? Like I had moments where I was like crying to my mom like about it and it's like, all right, and then what? Like the same thing with life, Like it sucks. You're gonna run into a ton of moments where it's like not enjoyable, but it's either
Mm,
you learn from it or you give up. Like That would be so wild for me if I were to like give up at that moment, because right after that I had my biggest client I've had to date. Like, and it was a wonderful experience. So it's like, life is just full of ups and downs. So you just have to learn to move through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's such a testament to life though too.
Yeah,
Like it's a mindset thing, and I do feel like if you go into entrepreneurship with that mindset, you will be more successful, I think.
for sure.
Right? Like I can almost confidently say you will, but
Right.
also of course there's like nuance
Right.
to
Right.
that. But no, I think that's really important. Okay, so I love that you haven't ever been like, fuck this, I want to quit, I don't want to do this anymore, because it really does show that like there's a long haul to this. It's not like a quick little, you're going to have a couple months and then you're going to like move on. It really
Yeah.
is, it has the potential of being, I don't know, I feel like it's so cheesy to say, but like it has the potential of being like a forever thing. Like you really can create a career around it.
Mm.
So you have gone down a unique path though, where you have also started working with an agency. So
Yeah.
you'll do like contracted out agency work, which I know
Mhm.
people are super curious about,
Yeah.
which I feel like is a unique path because it can give even some security, like some job
Yeah.
security and the consistency, especially if you're consistently always looking for clients, like it can just give that consistency. What made you lead to that path?
You
Like,
know
why did you
what?
go to?
Like, I have had a really interesting, lucky, like, I don't want to say lucky because I work really fucking hard, but like, yeah, just leaving myself open for like opportunities and really to see where this would take me. But
Mm,
yeah, so someone reached out to me, and which love her, Whitney, but she was like, "Yeah, I have someone I think you'd be super interested in this role." And yeah, so now I do. It does provide like some sort of. It could be a way to like provide some sort of security
yeah.
where I have my own clients, but then I also work with the agency and doing like a different type of work, or, like designing the magazine, which I share on, my socials. And that's just like more opportunity for me to really show off
Hmm.
like what I'm good at, or like what, this has in store for you. It doesn't just have to be, web design. You can really take this wherever you want it to go if you're open
Hmm.
to it.
Yes, so true. So when we did our interview in
Mhm.
2022, you had been at like $8,000 in the month.
Yeah.
I don't remember at that point what your highest web design client was, but I know you were charging on average, it was like the 3K.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, for like website in a day, and then
Yeah.
for like my larger projects I was charging, well, I not just the day projects. So around 2 to 3 was like the norm.
Yeah. Okay. So a year and a half later, where are you at now? Just so we have some like reference points of before
Yeah.
and now. Um,
Mhm.
what what is like your top earned website package that you've sold to date?
To date,
To date,
10, yeah, 10 for one project. And
10,000.
yeah, 10,000, sorry, yeah.
Okay, so if you're listening, $10,000.
Not $10. Like not worth it. But yeah, yeah, so it's for me, it's been what I know I like is working with a client long term, and like to develop some sort of like real relationship with them. So yeah, that's been like my highest, and I like it there. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, that's
I fit
amazing.
there, right?
We'll keep that.
Right.
I love that. Well, I always say this to you, but I'm so proud of you. And seriously, that's such an accomplishment.
Thank you.
And really so cool, like how quick that happened.
Yeah.
Like it really is so amazing. So 10K for the package. What's been your highest month to date?
To date, I would say a little over 25. So I had talked to you about that
Hmm.
and I was like, hey, I just hit my highest month. And for me, like, I was talking to my friend about this today. Would I ever do that again in the way that I did it? Probably not. But
Hmm.
because it was just a lot of work and I really do value my time. But
Hmm.
but to be able to show myself what is possible was really all I needed. Like, and
Hmm.
then to open my eyes to like other ways of achieving that same thing. Just, not tied to so much of my time. That has
Yeah.
been tremendous. Like once you hit and I have never really set a specific amount towards like, what's my next financial goal. It's always going to be like what type of clients that I work with is really
Hmm.
important
Hmm.
to me. But yeah, once I showed myself what that was, I was like, okay, this is way
Hmm.
different than I would have ever expected. That's like half of the year I would have worked,
It's
like
insane.
at a job. So yeah, it is
That's insane.
insane. It's like,
I
wow.
love though that you value your time because I feel like people always want like they think that they want to make a number or hit this like financial goal, but it's also really important to know what you want your life to look like
Yeah.
because you might be more comfortable making like the difference of making 15K and 25K might be such a drastic time difference that
Yeah.
like you're chilling at 15K. Like I'd rather that with time freedom. And so it really is so cool and unique that it's all different. Like it
Yeah.
really is all different per each individual. I think that's so
Right.
amazing.
And that's when you have to like let go of that pressure of like watching someone else like achieve something and for someone else to say, "Oh, I made 15K and blah blah blah." And like you may think that that's what you want, but like
Mm,
once you're in it, it's like, "Okay, actually, I just want like a chill way of life." You know what I mean? Or like to
mm,
be able to pick up and go do something during the day. Like
100%.
yeah, it's important that you just define that, like what that means for you. So
Yeah.
what success
No,
means, I
totally.
guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can't live your life based off what someone else wants or what
Right.
someone else is doing. Like this is your life. You gotta claim it.
Right.
Um, so if 25 or a little over 25K was like a little too much for you work wise, you wanted to work less, which I totally respect, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. What is a comfortable amount for you of like how much money can you make with your chilling schedule? You're not working as
Mhm.
crazy. What's that at?
15 easily, easy. Like, and that
Mm,
could be like based on the work that I'm doing, like consistent, I'm always expecting that. Um, which may be like through the agency, but then I may specifically like working that hard made me realize that I want to take on larger clients, larger projects that span
mm,
a certain amount of time. So you've got that could be for me one client and then, my
mm,
other work that I normally do. And then that's like an
mm-hmm.
easy month or whatever for me. So yeah, that's for me, that's what it's like.
15K.
Yeah, I can work with that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's good.
That's fine. I'll take that.
Right?
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so if someone's listening and because I know you get a lot of DMs from people that are like,
Yeah.
I'm just starting, I don't know where to go. So I'm sure you're like a freaking pro at this question at this point. But if someone's just starting and they don't know where to go, what to do, how to start, how to do the damn thing, what would you recommend? Like, what's just like a quick little, like, here's what to do?
Yeah. Okay. So have they already taken like your class or they have not hypothetically?
Let's say hypothetically they have not. They're like
Okay.
brand new off
Off the
socials. They've
street. So
never.
like me,
Yeah, off the
old
streets.
me. Yeah, it's literally like CEO Showit, multi-web designer, passive passion. Like I felt like that was the perfect thing for me. Like,
Mm,
but what's really important is after you take those classes, you have to actually get started. Like
mm-hmm.
and not wait. Like, there's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be like a perfect time to post or perfect, like, let go of all that shit and just do it.
Mm,
Like, I think so many people, especially like the people that DM me, it's like, all right, well, I have, gone through this process, but now I don't know what to do. And it's like, you do know what to do. It's just
mm,
get started and it's okay. And like,
mm-hmm,
when I first got started, I literally didn't follow anyone that I knew from my like intermediate, like not
mm,
my family, not my friends, none of that, because I didn't want to be influenced by like, what are they gonna think or who
mm-hmm.
gives a shit? Let's just
So
see
true.
where it takes you. And so yeah, I would definitely follow that little path, and then you actually have to, take the
Follow
training
it.
wheels off and then go.
Follow it.
Yeah, yeah, follow it.
If someone, though, is like trying to maybe do it on their own, I
Mhm.
guess, let's see. Do you think that the taking the courses, what do you think they did for you? Do you feel like they like fast tracked it, or do you feel like they gave you like a blueprint, or like if someone's like, "Oh, I wonder if I can do this without," what would you say to them?
Um, is it possible? Sure, definitely. But it's for me, it made it so much more clear. Like, when you're starting something new and like if you're thinking about, here's my mom brain, but like building some Legos and you take all that shit out the bag and then like the instructions are missing. And it's like, okay,
Mm,
I could build this. Is it
mm-hmm,
going to be how I want it to? No, it's not. Okay. And it's going
mm,
to take me a long time to get there. But like when I was taking, honestly, each course, I was following you and I felt like so supported in that way. Like, obviously, I didn't know you at the time and like never could have imagined, like, this, what's happening now. But like, I felt as though, you were telling me exactly what I needed to know. And at the end of it, I was like secure and ready to go. So it's like
mm,
that little hand holding for a moment, but then
mm.
it's, push it and,
I know.
get started.
The Lego analogy is amazing. It's my favorite. I think I'm going to probably add it into all my marketing now.
Listen, that
It's
bag.
literally just, no, but it really is true. It's like giving directions, step by step
Yeah.
directions. It's like similar to IKEA. Like, have you ever built a
Yes.
goddamn dresser from IKEA and
Right.
not have the instructions? That shit sucks. It's the same
Yeah.
way, same thing.
Same way. Like you're feeling so lost, overwhelmed, like all the things. And I'm like, I'm old. I should know how to do this, but it's like I
Mm,
need the instructions just make it so much easier. And then it's like, why would you, if someone has like proven their success from something and is willing to share that with you in a way that's not like so gatekeepy, like I'm just going to give you
mm,
half of the info, let you figure it out from there. Like, why would you take any other path is really how I feel. If it's already out there for you, then you might as well follow the blueprint. And then what you do after that is up to you. But like, why not have something to like
mm.
get you started?
Yeah, so true. Okay, well, I freaking love that. I love you. I want to end it off with knowing one huge business goal of yours that maybe you haven't even spoken out into existence, you haven't fully accepted. What's like one crazy big goal of yours?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. But really, what I want to do is create something for my business where it's so known. Like my
Mm,
clients, I feel like when they interact with me, they know my brand so well before we even get to work together. So I just want to expand that and want to support as many women as I can in totally different industries. Like I've worked with Playboy bunnies, I've worked with lawyers. So it's like something's working for
mm-hmm.
all of these women to like get together and feel connected to me. So really it's just to create something really massive where it's my
Mm,
own agency in a way that's like, that supports these women in like different ways, and I can, spread that like badassy feeling that I feel like a lot of my clients get and, feel kind of affirmed by me in that way. So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's fucking sick. I love that it's not, because obviously I love financial goals as
Yeah.
well, but I love that you didn't give just a monetary
Mhm.
goal. It's like really about the impact. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that is really cool because I think people, when they're first starting especially, they don't consider the impact. They just consider the money. They're like, I'm just going
Yeah.
to do this for a new career. I'm going to make money. Because that's like what's pressing for them. But then really when you start, you realize the impact that you have, and you
Yeah.
realize the people that you get to serve and help and guide, and that be almost, while yes, money is important and it can be cherished, like that is almost way more important than the actual money itself. It's like,
Yeah.
how can you change someone's life? Like that type of
Mhm.
impact is so incredible. And I don't think people understand that you as a creative and as a web designer and as a brand designer, like you have that potential and ability to do that for people.
Yeah, and then when you're like, I feel like the greatest compliment I always get from a client is like, you took my vision and turned it into a reality for me. And like, when
Mm,
somebody says that to me, I feel so like, I don't affirmed, really. It's like,
mm-hmm.
I'm doing this shit. I'm happy to do it with you, and like, and I love that. And then to watch them grow and then need to come back for like, other services, or like they trusted me so much they want to refer someone to my business. It's like, yeah, you don't really realize that. In the beginning, it's like, I want to make this money. And of course you do. Of course I do. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
a material girl, but like, I want to like, I want someone to feel something when they
Yeah.
experience like me and my brand. So,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I love that. Oh my God. Well, I think it's so cool just doing two podcast episodes. Like you're the first one I've ever done where we've done a podcast episode and then a year and a half later we do one again. And I
yeah.
feel like I can 100% recognize your experience, your confidence in just like being a entrepreneur and a creative and like who your purpose. I feel like you're just really, really rooted in like your purpose of what you're doing and why you're here and how you're going to help people. And I just think it's so beautiful and it's just very inspiring. And I know that everyone will be very inspired by you. So thank you for just being yourself.
I appreciate you. Like, I couldn't say enough about you and just like the impact that you've had on my life, and like being able to like meet you in person or just like talk, and
Mm,
I feel that, and I feel that, it's not just, something that you're doing to like, expand your brand. Like, I love that, and yeah, appreciate that about
mm.
you so so much. So,
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so where can people go to be
to
best
hang
friends with
out
you?
with me.
Yeah. Like, why does that sound
So
so weird?
yeah, on Instagram it's Wild Powerful Studio. If you want to get like a better idea of my personality, it's Morgan period Andre on TikTok. But yeah, Wild Powerful Studio is where you can find me and like my designs and like working together and all that fun stuff.
I love it. I love it so much. Also, her stuff will be all linked down below. So you can go click all the links, go hang out with her. And Morgan also is always so gracious with her time. If you have questions about a course, reach out to her. She's happy to talk through your goals,
Oh
where you're
yeah, for
at.
sure.
I mean, I'm speaking for you, but
No,
yeah.
I literally love it. When people DM me, I'm like, hey, yeah, we're are we friends? Like,
I
are
love
you?
it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So drop in her DMs, become besties. She's amazing. And just thank you so much for your time today. And I'm so
Yeah.
appreciative of you. And
Thank
with that,
you.
we'll see you guys later.
Bye.